Welcome to Dennis Insider. This is Sunny Singh, and today we will work on our first waxing exercise. First wax exercise is called drip wax block, where you will learn how to pick up wax and manipulate wax. The second exercise is progressive wax block, where you will learn how to create three distinct shapes like cusp cones, marginal ridges, and triangular ridges. And all of this together will help you to create any dental anatomy wax.
Here you can see that I have two loose wax sticks. It is better to fuse these sticks together for an adequate amount of wax. Heat the PKT1 at the base of the flame for about 5 seconds. Notice how I place the head parallel to the wax and I drag along the wax. The hot wax will follow the hot instrument and cool exactly where the instrument is placed. Working with hot wax is very similar to working with paint. Remember that the wax will constrict as it cools. Now you can see that the wax is raised. So we are using the half Hollenbeck to shave it down and make it flat. Be careful. The Hollenbeck is very sharp and you can cut yourself on it. Be mindful of how you angle the Hollenbeck when shaving. I place the Hollenbeck parallel to a block to create a flat surface. To polish, use the stocking and wrap it around your pointer finger. The stocking also acts like a knife edge, so make sure you use the flat part of your finger and use firm but gentle scrubbing motion. This will help you clean up the edges and make it shine.
In the previous well exercise, you have learned how to fill wax into the hole. Today we are learning how to work on the progressive wax block, which has three goals: to make cusp cones, triangular ridges, and marginal ridges. Cusp cones are the foundation for the triangular ridges and most of the tooth anatomy. So you will start on the empty block, and the result will look like the block shown below. Important tip: do not spend more than 8 hours working on this. Don't try to make it perfect, and try to learn the basics of tooth anatomy, like creating cusp cones and ridges. In second row, we will start by adding wax to the occlusal surface by either using PKT1 or 2. All you do is place wax and smooth out the occlusal to mimic the finished top row. Here we are learning how to manipulate wax and temperature control. Important tip is to have confined workspace by having the heat, wax, and the block as close as possible, till it becomes second nature to pick wax without looking. In the third row, we will add marginal ridges starting from the cusp cones. As you can see, I will start on the cusp cone and draw a semicircle marginal ridge to meet the other cusp. We will do that from cusp to create a marginal ridge, which is like a border all around the tooth. In the fourth row, we start with a cone at the correct location of the cusp tip and use it to make the triangular ridge. To start a cone, we place a small dot upon which we will add more wax. Pull the instrument up and hold the wax till it cools into a cone. I will now make another cusp cone on the next tooth. I will add wax in a circular motion and pull it up till it cools into a cone shape. So let's draw with a pencil the location of the central pit and observe that triangular ridges radiate out of the central pit in an X or a Y manner. I will add wax from the cusp cone in a downward motion to the central pit. With each layer, I will wax in one direction only, almost making a right triangle. We can make the triangular ridge wider and more distinct by tilting the hot PKT against the triangle. It's important to rotate the block in different angles to create the most ideal ridge, and I would recommend you practice long. So you can observe I create a cusp cone to proper height, then draw a line from the cone to the central pit. Now we are done with the left side of the block. We observe the star or X-shaped triangular ridges that will help us to create the rest of the occlusal anatomy. Now on the right side of the wax block, we will wax 2 premolars and 2 molars of the maxillary arch. I have left my example and 2 empty slots to show you how I would start. Once again, we are focusing on 3 things: cusp cones, which help make triangular ridges, and marginal ridges. Another tip is to use pencil markings to help you create the correct anatomy. So let's mark the cusp tips on the second molar. We have 2 on the buccal and 2 on the lingual. We have 2 triangular ridges on the buccal and 2 on the lingual, and then a marginal ridge which runs all around the tooth. Try not to focus on the anatomy, but learn our 3 basic things: cusp cones, triangular ridges, and marginal ridges. So as always, we will start with cusp cones, form a solid base to build upon, then I will flow wax down to the central pit to create a smooth triangular ridge. And connect from cusp to create the marginal ridge. Once again, always wax in one direction and look from different angles to make sure you are waxing properly. After forming the cusp cone and ridges, we will fill in the occlusal anatomy. We will start adding wax next to the triangular ridge and by tilting the instrument, but not touching the cone or ridge itself. I will work from different angles to finish all of the occlusal anatomy. Next, we can build the premolar using similar techniques as before. We will start with 2 cusp cones and build all ridges around them. You're probably wondering why the pencil mark is more central. It's because the cusp tip is not on the edge of your prep, so always measure or use adjacent teeth to locate the correct location of the cusp tips. After you have a general outline of triangular ridges, you can enhance it by using hot PKT or a carver like IPC. I will tilt the carver at an angle and carve triangular planes on both sides of the triangular ridge. I will finish off this exercise by creating the premolar in similar fashion to the molar. In the end, to give a more glossy finish, you can always run a hot PKT without wax over the lines. This will enhance your tooth anatomy. Lastly, work on the big molar and have fun with it. Don't try to make it perfect, but practice your 3 basics. And try not to compare your work to others or such videos. Practice and build strong foundations so you can have fun and comfortable waxing experience for the rest of the year.